Hi, everyone. I'm Easton Ariel. I'm the president of the Baker High School Alumni Association. And with me, we have my classmate from the class of 1961, just a few years ago, Gary Scheig. Gary, thanks a lot for joining us.
Good to be here.
Gary and his wife Annie just flew in from Des Lacs, North Dakota. So we really appreciate him being with us. Gary, when you got out of high school, what made you go into the Air Force?
Well, my dad was career Army. He was paratrooper. And he always told me, he says, when you go into the service, go into the Air Corps, he called it. He says, you'll have a warm bed every night and a hot meal. You won't be sleeping in some damn cold foxhole. And there you go.
I have to agree with him. I have to agree with him on that. And so you went right after high school?
In July, yeah.
In July. Okay. And what activities did you participate with in Baker High School?
I was just a student. I was not a good student. I hated school. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I had a lot of seventh periods chalked up. And I got tired of staying after school that extra hour. I went down and talked to Mr. Boyles. I told him I'd like to trade hours for licks. And he burned my ass up, I'll tell you. And I never got another hour. He taught me good.
Before you leave, what did we move to?
It's back here.
That's his paddle right there. Yeah.
I'm sure I could feel it from here.
Yeah, I remember he told you the same thing he told me. I told a lot of you guys that are looking in. He says, son, this is going to hurt me worse than it's going to hurt you. So I'm going to hit y'all left-handed. Well, he was left-handed. But you know what? We love that man. I got to know Mr. Bowles real well after I moved back to Columbus, and he was just like we were. I did his life history. I'll have to send you that. I did his life history, and he was just as bad as we were, in high school. But you know one thing? He loves his students. And because of him being a veteran, he was a veteran.
Yeah.
He was a paratrooper also.
I know.
And but anyway, we're not here to talk about Mr. Boy, talk about you. So where did you go when you joined in July?
July.
62, where did you go for basic training?
Lackland Air Force Base for 2 months.
All right, you people pick up your luggage and follow the bus driver out. Let's go, people, get your luggage up. Like the north wind whistling down the sky, I've got a song, I've got a song. Like the whippoorwill and the eagle's cry, I've got a song, I've got a song. And I carry it with me and I sing it loud.
That's for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Is basic that long?
Well, it was 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and then we got our duty assignment from
it's
there.
the kind of combination, basic and ART, I guess.
No, it was all basic training.
Was it?
2 weeks or 2 months.
I got to tell you a little quick story about Lackland in '63 when I played football. We played Lackland down there, and on the visitor side, every now and then I would hear Ish Mo. And then after halftime, I look up and the whole side was hollering my name. Remember Carlos Vega?
Yeah.
That was throwing him up in there. It was Carlos. So then after Lackland, where you go?
I was stationed at March Air Force Base in Riverside, California. I was there for 14 months, and they were breaking the wing up to replace the B-47s with the B-52s. So they had to make the runway longer and deeper.
Okay. So you were what kind of, I don't want to say mechanic, or what were you?
I was in the transportation business there, and I was assigned to the field maintenance squadron, and I would deliver age equipment, that's your power equipment, air compressors, heaters, and stuff like that, to the aircraft.
We service, repair, maintain, and deliver aerospace ground equipment to our KC-135 fleet here to provide them the ground equipment they need to go off and fly their missions. We do anything from inspecting the equipment, either it being a 6-month, a yearly, a 2-year, to make sure that the equipment is ready to go out there. We also perform maintenance whenever the equipment breaks, and we also perform pickup and delivery, supporting all the aerospace ground equipment on the line and the jets.
Oh, okay. This is interesting. You telling me this? That's the first time I hear this. So I didn't. The Air Force, just like the Navy, I didn't think they do much, but I was wrong. I was wrong about both of them. They all had their stories, and you'll be able to see. I'm gonna tell you all of them, and you'll be able to see the one guys from the Navy, Paul Holmes and Gerald Holmes.
Okay.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So, do you have to go to school for that, for what you do?
No, not really. Just Air Force training, a 2-week driver's course, something like that.
Okay.
And when I left there, I went up to Minot Air Force Base. I got there January of '63. It was cold as hell, 30 below zero. I never knew it got that cold in the United States. And I had just my winter blues on, low quarters, shoes, no gloves. And I waited in Minot for about 6 or 7 hours for the base to come pick me up. And they finally got me out to the chow hall, and the rest is history there.
So that was your home base, Minot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I was looking at the map today, like we talked earlier, and Minot Air Force Base, it's not in Minot, North Dakota. It's a few miles apart.
It's about 8 miles north.
Oh, is it? Okay. It looked further than that on Google Earth. So were you there all the time?
I was there that period of time, 4.5 years. And, I got married to Ann in '65. And I cross-trained in December of '66 to aircraft munitions. And I went to Lowry Air Force Base for, that was December until 1st of March, I believe it was, for training.
Where's that located?
At Denver.
In Denver, okay.
And I went back to Minot, and I was certified on the B-52 loading nuclear weapons.
Oh, okay.
And then I got orders for Southeast Asia.
Oh, Vietnam.
Thailand.
Thailand. Oh, I've heard about the Air Force Base in Thailand.
Yeah.
I mean,
there was about 7 of them, and I was at Nakhon Phanom, which is right on the Laotian border, and we had all propeller-driven aircraft: A-1Es, T-28s, A-26s. The A-26 was World War II type aircraft. We had 850 caliber machine guns in the nose, and she could blow up some.
850. I know what it's one. So 8 of them, I fired it, the 50,
Yeah.
and it put a dent.
Yeah.
Whatever you're shooting at. It's funny. You talk to use regular thought, naming the planes. The other one I'm familiar with is the last thing you mentioned, the B-52s. The other ones I don't know anything about. It could be a small plane, it could be a big plane.
Well, the A-1Es is what they use for strafing. They sent them out to rescue the downed pilots, or Marines will know what an A-1E is, or some of the infantry in the Army will definitely know, because during the Tet Offensive in Quezon, we sent a lot of aircraft over there to support the ground troops.
I
a
see.
lot.
Yeah. Well, so, when you were in Thailand, I know you didn't work 24 hours around the clock. You must have had some time to go into town and see the sights.
Yeah, well, you had the Mekong River there and a Laotian village across the river.
Well, I'm not talking about on a boat. I was talking about maybe in town.
Well, I tell you, when I first got to Thailand, one of the first letters I received from my wife was that, hey, Gary, the rabbit died. She's pregnant.
Oh.
So I didn't get to see my son until he was 3.5 months old. and trying to pick names out back and forth with the mail, 10 days at least. And finally, I just said, let's name this baby after your father. He's a boy. So we did. And that took care of that.
That, I think the same thing has happened to several other people. We got the services,
Sure. You bet.
I think, in a way, that I was part of that. My dad in the Army 43 years, and I was born in 1943, and Dad just left, So, it's funny when you find out, but I'm one of those too, and I've known, when I was in service, I known guys that they get their mail on time, not like they do now, but they get their mail on time. I got a boy. They were so excited.
Mm-hmm.
It was so, or a girl, they were so excited, that it was, I'm glad I was there to experience that with other people,
Yeah.
And how long were you in Vietnam for?
51 weeks.
51 weeks. And then after Nam, where'd you go?
I went to England Air Force Base, Louisiana.
I think I've been to that one.
Okay, it's down there close to Fort Polk.
I think that is the air base that when coming back from Cuba back home, we stopped and got gas right there.
It could have.
Yeah, I know we stopped somewhere in the south.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how long were you there?
Exactly 1 year. Worked on the A-37 aircraft. That was
What's an A-37?
They call it the Tweety Bird. It's made by Cessna. The A model, I think, had the nose gun, or the B model, one or the other. I've forgotten now. But they could carry a Su-11, I think it was a Su-11 gun dispenser, machine gun. Gatling gun.
Okay.
And it could carry its own weight and ordnance. It's a pretty good aircraft.
Now, what I'll be doing, like I did with the other guys, I'll go home, YouTube.com, and I'll dial it in. And I want to see, after I moved back here and married my wife, Sandy, we went to Warner Robins Air Force Base. They have a museum. And it was so funny. You laugh at this. I'm looking at all the airplanes they have out, and all the transport they used to jump out, there they were. C-119, C-46, C-54. And I thought, golly, I must be getting old. And I was just 60,
Yeah.
I think, at that time. It's interesting. So after that, where did you go?
Let's see, that was, went straight over to England from there.
England.
I was at RAF Bentwaters for 4 years.
Doing the same thing?
I worked on F4s, C's, D's.
Yeah.
And I was in load training there for a while. Most of the time I'd train other crews how to load it.
When you say I worked on planes, you're not talking about mechanical, you're talking about
Munitions loading.
munition loading. Okay. That would be interesting. The only drawback on that job, I think, I would hate to drop one of them things.
You only do it once.
You only do it once. That's exactly right. I said, is that a real tedious job?
Tedious, you say? Any job can be tedious, but it wasn't all that bad. When we were in England, we were doing a lot of exercises, NATO exercises and stuff like that. So you loaded the aircraft, but then you had to unload it too.
Oh.
You didn't drop the munitions any place, you unloaded them. So it was a lot of work. That was the tedious.
I've only watched it on YouTube.com. Them loading, under the wings, and I noticed they got the lift, call it forklift. They got the lift that lifts it up.
That's
And I-
MHU-1.
MJ1.
MJ1,
Okay.
And then it was that MHU-86.
It just makes me think. What if one of them slips and it falls?
Most of the time it won't hurt nothing. Most of the time.
Most of the time. This reminds me about Gerald Holmes unhooking the thing from the planes. Obviously it was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure it was satisfying work too. So after England, what happened?
England, I went back to Minot Air Force Base. I put in for it and got it. And I was there 14 months. And then I went to Korea for a year.
Oh, Korea.
So I worked on the F-4Es over there. It's got the nose gun in it.
What kind of plane is that?
F-4, it's a fighter bomber.
Okay. Oh, they're forward. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they put a nose gun in that, and it only carried 450 rounds. So it doesn't make sense, pull that trigger once and they're gone.
I have always wondered about that. Of course, in the movies, they must have 1,000 rounds each, but I mean, I know how a machine gun works. I know how quick you get rid of them shells, but you can run out of ammunition real quick.
Yes, you can. They also carried a center line. Now that would carry maybe 3,000 rounds. I forget. It fires 3,000 rounds a minute, but I forget how many you can load into it. You get a longer squirt with that one.
Yeah. And it's funny. I hear the Air Force guys and Navy guys use their terminology, and not forgetting we had terminology too in the airborne. We had all kinds of terminology, it's so you really had an exciting, interesting career.
I enjoyed it. It was hectic at times, and mundane at other times. Just same thing day in, day out, just like any other job.
Yeah. So after you went back to Minot, then is that where you retired from?
I retired when I left Korea. I got back to Minot, and I got on the controlled tour there, which put me out at 20 years, and I didn't want to go overseas anymore, so I put in my retirement papers.
So you were in there 20 years, right? Yeah. I'm glad that we do what we do. You're right here to find out, because unless you talk to another veteran that was somewhere else, y'all did that. Y'all did that. I've been asking about mine. Were you scared on the way going to Cuba? I'm all those questions, and I'm glad they're asking them. So that's the thing about it,
It's more of the excitement of it than the fear. I always welcomed a transfer. What can I do now? See different people, different things in the world. I enjoyed it.
See now, I can relate to that. In the airborne, probably most Army infantry, you don't know where you're going to that day. You go in, you pack up, and you head out. And have you ever heard about Fort McClellan, Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know what it used to be a long time ago? That was the Army Wax Training Course.
Oh, sure.
Basic
Okay.
training course. Okay. And I can recall one time in the hallway, everybody's in the hallway looking at the bulletin board. Where is Fort McClellan at? Where is that place at? I said, well, I knew, because you remember Robert Majors?
Mm-hmm.
His mom and dad are from Anniston, right by Fort McClellan. And anyway, so I said, well, that's where the Wax Training Center is. Oh, yeah? The opinions change, Then we jumped in and blah, blah, blah. To me, jumping out of plane was not good. Just go out the door,
Yeah.
And the way you work with your things, some people, you did that? Weren't you scared to go out? No, we weren't, Gary, you had an interesting career. That's good,
Thank you. I enjoyed it.
And I'll tell you what, all of us thank you for sharing it with us, Guys, you can be looking at them videos all day long. They're never tired. And sometimes, Gary, there's a bunch of us here. And then we have a chit chat section.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to talking about something, and somebody, ideas. And we was going to do the first one we did, the only one we've done so far. It was going to be 5 minutes? Boy, we just kept chit-chatting, and I know there's one thing, I'm going to ask you what I ask everybody. Will you do it again if you had to?
Yes, I would.
And all of us in a heartbeat, and Paul Holmes think of me. Hey, boy, I'm ready to go right now.
I would if I could.
Well, the thing is, we might have been different nationality, different religion, different high school, but we were one thing. We were patriotic to our
Amen.
country.
That's good.
And I will be. And I was worried about this country, but now I'm not too much worried about it now. But anyway, I don't want to get into politics. Gary, thanks a million.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a million. We're going to have fun Monday.
Oh, sure.
I'm speaking about the veteran story. Joey Losky, that's going to be able to make it, our comedian and magician, he told me his. Well, I should have been in the neighborhood with him, It was, and I don't want to ruin his story. It's just how he got started.
Mm-hmm.
It's just real funny. Gary, again, many, many, many thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And I know you're going to have a good time Monday.
I am indeed.
Yeah. I'm going to recognize you as the longest drive, anybody not flown in. I used to kid the people coming to luncheon. This is years ago. I said, who drove there further? Who's from Phoenix City, Alabama? And we had some to live in Phoenix City and so on. Folks, that's about it for this session. We'll be sending the videos out pretty soon. So you want to check it and check the others also. And you veterans, please get back with me. Get back to me and we want to hear your story. We've had guys now from Lexington, North Dakota, Atlanta, Georgia, and get back with me. It's more of a chit chat session than anything else, and you hear it from the person that's being interviewed from their mouth. So I want to thank y'all, and we'll see you soon again.
22 January 1968, 15 miles west of Phuket, South Vietnam, F-100 strike military targets in a Viet Cong village. Tactical crews dropped Mark 82 high and low drag bombs and BLU-27 Incendagel. Total mission results, 25 military structures destroyed or damaged with 3 secondary fires. 24 January. Near the west end of the demilitarized zone, 8 F-100 crews of the 6th 12th Tactical Fighter Squadron attack a large concentration of enemy storage bunkers.